right, good evening. Forgive the few minutes of late start, but we are ready to call the special magistrate hearing of May 24th, 2023 to order. My name is Kristen Ike. I am the special magistrate for the city of Deltona. The first thing on the agenda is the roll call, so I will have all of the code enforcement officers introduce themselves.
Mark Gibson, Code Compliance Supervisor.
Danny Ron, Code Compliance Manager.
Renee Kearney, Hearing Clerk.
Mary Larissy, Code Compliance Supervisor.
Todd Mead, Code Compliance Supervisor.
Taylor Seafield, Code Compliance Officer. Janice Pulaski, Code Compliance Officer.
Tyler Russo, Code Compliance Officer. Steve Brockoff, Code Compliance Officer.
Sharon Shivers, Fire Marshal.
Sam Schaller, Assistant Fire Marshal.
All right, thank you. If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next on the agenda is my statement about how the hearings are going to run tonight. And I am going to read this so I don't forget anything, so forgive me for that. We are here tonight because the city of Deltona has contended that there are violations of the Deltona City Code that exist. This is a public hearing, which means that no general public comment will be accepted, but each of the respondents and the code enforcement officers here tonight and any witnesses each of you call will be able to present evidence to me regarding each case and the violations of the Deltona City Code that are being alleged. I'm an attorney and appointed by the City Commission to render decisions in these code enforcement cases to determine if a violation of the City Code exists and what fine will be imposed, if any. If you are here for a Massey case, you might see that next to your case number on the agenda. That means that I will be determining solely whether you have come into compliance in a timely manner in accordance with the previous order I issued in your case, and will not be reopening the case to determine whether or not a violation existed in the first place. Any decision I make this evening will be put into a written format in the form of an order. A copy of my written order will be provided to the city and then mailed to you as well. It is important to note that for any order I issue, you may appeal by sending a written notice of appeal to the circuit court within 30 days of the execution of my order, pursuant to Florida Statutes Section 162.11. The procedure of the hearings today will be governed by Chapter 162 Florida Statutes. Formal rules of evidence shall not apply, but fundamental due process shall be observed and shall govern the proceedings. Hearsay is admissible, but only to support other competent and substantial evidence. If you are a respondent, you will be able to testify, tell me what you think I need to know about your case, present evidence and witnesses. Your testimony will be under oath, so I will be swearing you in, and this hearing is being recorded. For each case, I will call the case number and the city will proceed first. The city has the burden of proving that the code violation exists. Then you will be allowed to respond. For each case, I intend to admit the case file as evidence, and you should have received a copy when you came in this evening. If you don't have that, please let me know as soon as you come up to speak to me when I call your case. I will take the cases in the order that you signed in, first come, first served. And I do have a couple of announcements of cases that have been continued or withdrawn. So I have a case 23-001, which is 2196 Howland Boulevard. That has been continued. Fire case 4-2023, 3151 Howland Boulevard. Those two cases have been continued, so if you are here for those cases, you do not need to stay. Also, I have withdrawn fire case 8-2023, which is for 577 Deltona Boulevard, and case 23-202, 2676 Cortland Boulevard. Again, if you're here for those cases, you do not need to stay. I will swear in everyone who intends to testify today as a group, which includes the code enforcement officers. So if you plan to speak to me today, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you. All right. So aside from those couple of cases I mentioned that were continued or withdrawn, I'm approving the agenda, and I have already signed the minutes from the previous meeting, and I have no ex parte communications to disclose. So we can proceed on with the first cases. All right, this is 23-028, a Massey case, 1680 North Page Drive. Good evening, go ahead.
My name is Todd Lee. I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be Massey case number DEL 23028. The City of Deltona versus Russell Kenneth Pierce, Betty Leah Jones Pierce. Property address is 1680 North Page Drive, Deltona, Florida, 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-055-280-360. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at the City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to Special Magistrate Clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. It was ruled on 1/5/2023 that the property owner was given 60 days to comply. The owner did not come into compliance within those 60 days and has been receiving a fine of $50 a day since 3/28/23. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $2,900 over 58 days. The city is requesting that the fines continue at $50 per day. The city has decided to move forward with abating the property due to the public nuisance becoming an immediate health and safety matter for the general public and immediate concerns for the surrounding properties. This is for a shed, the no permit. Shed is back behind the tree. Basically, you're just seeing the back side of the shed. I have talked to the owner, husband, and I talked to the wife just this evening. They are here to at least know where the process is as far as they going to get the permit and where they're at.
Okay. And so it's your testimony that no permit has been applied for at this point?
No permit. They've been running to, no permit has not been applied for still.
Okay. And let's see. Give me just a moment to look at the file. Okay, is the property owner here? You can come forward to this other, yes. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Betty Pierce, 1680 North Page Drive in
Okay.
Deltona.
What would you like to tell me about the case?
Initially, when I went to apply for the permit, Initially, when I went to apply for the permit, I was notified that the survey had errors on it, and I had to contact the survey company who did the original survey, and it took over a year to get a survey from them, and I had to pay additional $500 on top of what I had already paid just to get a correct survey that was to scale, and it had to have, because we have a lake behind our house, it had to have the high water line, and there was a couple other things that were not correct on the original survey. After the hearing in January, I did receive the survey, and I brought it down to the office here to apply for a permit. And that's when they told me I had to have an engineer stamped drawing or letter from an engineer company saying it was up to code. I did not know that prior to that time when I brought that in. Otherwise, while I was waiting for the survey, that would something that we could have had going on at the same time, so I do apologize about that. I'm working with Elite Engineering, trying to get that taken care of with me, an additional $1,500 just to get a signed letter. And unfortunately, I don't know the time frame for how long it takes because they did tell me that they are backlogged. I apologize that it's taken this long. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like I'm stuck in the process, kind of. I can only do as soon as I have the information I'm given or the paperwork I'm given, but I am in the process of trying to comply.
Okay, thank you. So for the city, is it you're asking me to still impose the $2,900 that have accrued
At
up
this
to this
time.
point?
Yes, at this time, please.
Okay. All right. Given the circumstances, it sounds like it was difficult to obtain the survey. I am inclined to at least cut down some of the fine that has accrued up to this point. So I think what I would do is, so let's see, it would have been 3/27 was the date to come into compliance.
Correct.
So I think at this point, and it has $2,900 that have accrued at this point. I think what I will do is cut that down to $1,500. And the fine will continue to run though. So, you have to really stay on the engineer to get this done. I understand that it's difficult sometimes to work with the engineers and the surveyors and so forth. So that's why I'm willing to cut that a little bit. But, we do want to ensure that you come into compliance.
Of course.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be my ruling. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm going to admit the case file as Exhibit A. And I find that respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order, and the fine will be imposed for what has accrued up to this point at $1,500 and will continue to run at the $50 a day as previously imposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next case is 23-092. This is also a Massey case, 1085 Wilmington Drive.
My name is Marion Laracy. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as Code Compliance Supervisor. This is a Massey case number DEL 23-092, City of Deltona versus Sean McCaig. Property address is 1085 Wilmington Drive, Deltona. Parcel ID is 813-005-720-200. Statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met. Notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of the day that they were taken. It was ruled on February 8, 2023. The property owner was given 60 days to comply. The owner has not come into compliance within those 60 days and has been receiving a fine of $25 a day since April 9, 2023. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $1,125 over 45 days. The city is requesting that the fines continue at $25 per day until the property is in compliance.
Did you say not in compliance?
Is not in compliance
Not in compliance.
as of today.
Okay, thank you. All right, can you scroll through the photos again for me? Thank you. And then to be clear, just what's in my case file, these photos are numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, but these are from the original hearing?
That is correct.
And 5, right, yeah, okay. So these from today are not numbered, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Okay. Sir, can you state your name and address for the record?
Certainly. My name is Sean McCaig. I currently reside at 122 Dixwood Avenue. That's in Edgewater, Florida, but I am the homeowner of this particular piece of property here in Deltona for the last 18 years.
Thank you. What would you like to tell me about the case?
Well, if you can find the picture that shows the new roof. Okay. In this picture, you can see that all of the work has started on the home. That is a brand new roof that has just been installed. The home is under contract with Morgan Exteriors. Morgan Exteriors is a business located in Lutz, Florida, as its base. However, under that contract, which was established shortly after my last visit to your office here, the roof, the windows, the siding, all of the things that were previously cited, because there were initially 3 different citations, all of those things are within this one contract, so they are working on getting everything delivered. I'm told that the siding itself, should be replaced within the next 2 weeks, and that is based on information that was just shared with me in conversation with the office manager at, again, Morgan Exteriors. It's quite a hefty rebuild project right now.
Okay. So for the code officer, is it more than painting that needs to be accomplished to come into compliance, or is it's actually the siding needs to be replaced? Can you elaborate on that?
There were 3 cases total. One was for the concrete driveway and one was for the roof and disrepair. Those were given a 90-day time frame. The only case that we're hearing today is exterior walls. And unfortunately, I don't know what it takes to get the house in compliance with exterior walls, whether it's painting or replacing the siding.
It's, according to the contractors that I'm working with, the roof itself, I paid an additional $11,000 just for the replacement plywood underneath. So it was not necessarily just the facade of the home that is being repaired. So that's why it's such a substantial project as opposed to, picking things up or whatnot. The debris along the concrete driveway has been obviously picked up so that it would be as minimal as possible. You would see a tremendous difference, obviously, from previous pictures to now. And I am following what the contractors are sharing with me. For instance, the reason the concrete driveway is not done yet is because they're utilizing that for the big professional dumpster to get they used it for the roof, and now they're going to have to use it for the siding as well. And it's upgraded,
Right.
everything is hurricane proof now, so, or at least it will be soon.
We're only, but we're only here to discuss the one case, which was
Sure.
related to the exterior. But what I'm hearing you say is that is wrapped up in the same contract as some of the other items.
And I asked about
That has a compliance date of 90 days.
Yeah, I let them know that I said, I'm working with the county right now to try to make sure these things get done. And I was told, you have to have this roof done first and then go to the siding.
Okay.
So,
all right.
because there was actually, when we investigated it, there was actually 2 areas where there were holes in the roof where apparently like a branch had come through. So it's in much better shape now.
Okay, and then you needed to have the roof completed first before you...
Yeah, the roof is completed now. That's what, and I don't know enough about these things from a structural standpoint to know if I'm being given information that's correct or not. But when they said to me, you need to do this with step 1, step 2 is we're going to redo the siding and replace any of the timbers that need to be replaced inside with the framework. It's quite a big project.
Okay. And for the city, you are seeking the entire $1,125 at this point?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. I mean, again, I feel, they have made, the respondent has made substantial strides towards compliance with doing the roof. So, I mean, I am willing to reduce that slightly. I think what I will do is, so at this point, it would have been $1,125 that is accrued. I think I will do $500. And so.
And I appreciate that generosity.
And then, but it will continue to accrue until you come into compliance on the exterior. So that's, $25 per day. So continue.
So I cannot receive like an extension on having the home repaired?
Well, the other portions it wasn't the time, that time hasn't come yet, right? You had 90 days, but I did give 60 days for this portion, which was the exterior of the home. And that's why I'm giving a reduction, because I understand that, what you're saying is that, the roof needed to be done first. So that's why I'm giving a reduction. But you need to bring this into, we're wanting to bring this into compliance, so I'm not going to eliminate it entirely. Given, and I can see from the photos that there's still issues with the siding, and it appears there's going to be painting and also replacement of that. So I am going to find that the case file, I'm admitting the case file as Exhibit A. I find that the notices were properly given in this case. And I find that respondent is, in this case, failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and a fine will be imposed as set forth in that order, except that I am providing a reduction to $500 that has been accrued up to this point, but it will continue to run at $25 per day going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is case 23-189, 1841 East Normandy Boulevard. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Todd Mead. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a Code Compliance Officer. This will be case number DEL 23189. The City of Deltona versus Abdallah Shabham. The property address is 1841 East Normandy Boulevard, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-011-150-060. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. Corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for the garage door replacement. The application must be submitted to the City of Deltona, 2345 Providence Boulevard. The structure must meet all requirements of city ordinance and be approved on final inspection. Contact the building office with the permit number when obtained. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Special Magistrate Clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On February 20th, 2023, I posted a notice of violation for offense with no permit on this property. I noticed the garage door missing, and I left a door hanger notice for the owner to obtain a permit for the garage door replacement. About a month later, March 27th, 2023, I saw the garage door had been replaced. A review of city records did not indicate a permit was applied for or issued. I proceeded to post a notice of violation and sent out a certified mailing for the violation. The property owner did not attempt to apply, the property owner did attempt to apply for the permit on April 4th of 2023. The owner needed more documentation on the product to submit the permit application. Certified mailing was returned to the City Hall offices unsigned on 4/19/23. No follow-up on the application from the homeowner within the month of April. The property was posted for the special magistrate hearing on 5/14/23. The homeowner sent a representative to city offices to attempt for a second time on May 19th to apply for the permit, which they're again notified they still needed more documentation on it. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance, or a fine of $50 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Thank you. Is the property owner here? Can you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Jessica. I am the property owner's daughter. Her name is Shabnam Abdallah, and the address is 1841 East Normandy, Deltona. So Shabnam is actually out of the country. She is currently receiving cancer treatments in India. She will be back on the 5th of June, and I was the one that came into the office last week to try to straighten everything out for her because she had already did the permit application. But apparently, I guess there was something that needed to be notarized with her signature here on site, so they wouldn't do the permit application for me.
Okay. All right. Is that, for the code enforcement officer, is that your understanding of the only thing that's missing is the notarized signature?
Yes, the notes in the file have indicated when she talked to the permitting department that she needed either product information or installation information that would allow them to issue the permit.
Okay.
Because,
All right, and you said it's your mother?
Yes.
And that she'll be back by June 5th?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so 30 days should be ample time for that to occur,
Okay.
for the signature, correct? Okay. All right. Then I will go ahead and admit the case file as Exhibit A. I find that the notices were properly given in this case. And I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on June 23rd, which is 30 days.
Okay.
In the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of, I'm going to impose $25 per day, because they have attempted to comply up to this point. So in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. The respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. So please make sure that you stay in contact with Mr. Mead to let him know when she comes in and signs the permit application. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is case 23-187, 2742 Elk Cam Boulevard. Who's doing that one? 23-187? Oh, okay, perfect, sorry.
all right, here we go. My name is Todd Mead. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 23187. The City of Deltona versus Elcam Deltona Corporation and Scorpio's Italian Eatery. Property address is 2742 Elcam Boulevard, Deltona, Florida, 32738. The parcel ID number is 813-074-240-360. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. Corrective action for this said violation is to obtain a permit for all work required, which is, we're looking at the decorative arches and lighting, etc. Applications must be submitted to the City of Deltona, 2345 Providence Boulevard. The structure must meet all requirements of city ordinance and be approved on final inspection. Contact the office with the permit number when obtained. The statutory requirements for notification for this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent out certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Special Magistrate Clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case began as a follow-up to the fire inspection report that was noted for work done without a permit inside Unit 4 at the address of 2742 Elcam Boulevard. The business in operation is Scorpio's Italian Eatery. The inspection was initiated on 4/2021. The remaining issue on the inspection report was a no permit for interior remodeling work. Decorative arches and electrical lighting was done. The first attempt to contact the business was on February 28, 2023. The notice of violation was eventually issued to the business on March 6th of 2023. The notice was hand-delivered to a male employee at this time. A certified mailing was sent out on February 28th, 2023. The city received some correspondence from the property owner on February 8th and 9th in reference to some work done on the property. This work was not part of the interior work mentioned in the fire report. I spoke to the business owner on March 14th, and he wanted to request a special magistrate hearing on the issue to state his case. I advised him of the process and the potential dates a special magistrate hearing could be scheduled for this no permit issue. The notice of hearing was hand-delivered to the business owner on May 14th at the restaurant around 12:20 p.m. The initial notification came from the fire inspector on the remodeled arches and lights needing a permit. The pictures within the fire report are of the arches noted by the orange marker. If you look at the fire report, it should be in the packet. That's the initial pictures that were provided through the fire report. The photos taken today are what we see up on the screen. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance, or a fine of $50 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, thank you. Is the property owner here? Or representative?
The representative for the restaurant owner, the business owner is here that runs in the unit. It was the main responsible party in the permit.
Okay. Yes, you can come forward.
Okay. To this one?
Can you state your name and address for the record?
Vincenzo Scorpio, 2742 Alcam Boulevard, Suites 4 and 5, Scorpio's Family Pizzeria. Can I
Yes,
hand you this?
go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, no. We're going to have somebody come get it, and then I thought you were going to speak. So someone will come get the items from you.
Okay, and bear with me a little bit because I'm actually quite frustrated and pretty upset at part of this.
Okay. Well, I'm here to listen, so go ahead and tell me what you'd like to tell me about the case.
It kind of follows along with that since it dates back to February of 2020. So, in February 2020, while the restaurants were closed, intermittently, I decided to pretty much give the restaurant a facelift, paint, clean up, install non-load-bearing arches, replace fixtures, none of which requires a permit, and around the beginning of the summer 2021, the city was made aware, I agree with the fire inspector, and in August of 2021, August 25th specifically, I invited the entire building department to the restaurant to tour the restaurant. I provided a ladder for them to, if they felt the need, climb up in the attic, invited them to take as many pictures as they'd like, and the building inspectors that were there, or building officials, were John Bowden, Carl Lynch, Ron Paradise, and I believe one other person that I didn't recognize or don't know. Yeah, I just said, take all the pictures you want. And this was in August of 2021. All that John Bowden requested was, or I'm sorry, his name is John, am I saying it right? Bowden? Anyway, was the material safety data sheets that I provided for you, which says the material that was used to construct the arches, and the hood wraps. The fire department required some information from Captive Air regarding the wraps around the hood. I provided documents that showed it was before I did the improvement, it was made of wood, and I switched it to a composite concrete material that doesn't burn, which wood does burn, plus that it looks a lot nicer, but I satisfied the fire department request with that as well. There were mini splits that were installed prior to the total acquisition of Scorpios by me and my wife, which John brought up, and I offered to have them pulled out because they're non-functional, they don't work in a restaurant application, and I didn't have a problem with pulling those out.
I'm sorry, what were you offering to pull out?
The only thing that John specified as being an issue at that time were mini split air conditioners.
Oh, okay.
That are, you can see them in the pictures that predated my ownership of Scorpios. So he had me submit some information regarding the mini splits, which I did. I didn't provide you with that because I kind of lost track of everything, and I'll get to why is that. But April of 2022, the fire department requested that I requested that I put a lever door handle back on a door. Then I made a stationary door handle, and I had somebody from the city come out, and I told them, look, if you need me to put a lever handle on that, you're going to need to go to everybody else and have them put lever handles on their door, because everybody else doesn't have lever door handles. They have stationary door handles. So that was a non-issue at that point. In July of 2022, I informed the city that I would be installing new vinyl lettering over my logo bubble, and Ron Paraday said that it required a permit, and I told him that we've done it in the past, 7 years ago at a store we owned on Cortland, and it did not require a permit. So I said, but I'll get a permit if that's what you want me to do. And he said he was going to let me just go ahead and do it, and we'll just get it done quick so nobody sees. To which I replied, I would much rather be treated fair than special. And I asked him for the statute that supported what he's claiming, and I was able to show him that there's absolutely nothing in that statute that matches what I was trying to do. And you have a picture of the signage that I'm talking about. Then later, in August of 22, Carl Lynch came into the restaurant with, I'm going to ruin her name too. Thankfully, my name's bad. Huh? Lisa Nadeau. Okay. With Lisa Nadeau, and she just took a look at an outlet that I was changing the cover on, and because it was gross. It was in the restaurant side. It was covered in grease. It was just nasty. It needed to be changed, which, again, is changing a fixture. It's completely legal. You just change it for the exact same item or comparable, and there's nothing illegal about doing that or requiring a permit to do that. So when I said that to her, almost 2 years later to the day, Carl jumps up at me and aggressively and belittling, yells at me that that's not what I did, and he pulled on one of the puck lights, and it came down, started to pull out, because it's more like a pendant light than it is a puck light, because the pendant lights are what's in the pictures that were exchanged for puck lights. But anyway, so at that point, I could tell that Lisa was done with, she needed to get out of there. She knew it. I felt completely awkward and upset. So that ended that meeting regardless.
Can I just stop you for a moment? So I just want to make sure I understand, because I thought that, Mr. Mead, you were saying that there were new items, right? I mean, I feel like, and respectfully, you're telling me that there's quite a bit of history here, but I thought that what you were stating was that there's issues with the archways that are new.
Yes, from the fire report, it was noted that the arches and the lighting within the arches was seen as new, and that was possibly requiring a permit, and then the permit needed to be obtained. So basically, we're just speaking of these arches here in the picture that was called out in the fire report that need to be
Okay, so if
permit.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. So the fire report was completed in April, the inspection date was April 13th, 2021.
From when I was beginning of 2021, and with the deficiencies listed, the remaining one that was eventually turned over to code compliance was the need of a permit for those arches and lights.
When was that?
So that's not new, based on what he's telling me. That's April 2021. These arches
Yes.
were installed?
Before that, but yeah, whatever.
They were just, okay, so.
Regardless, I'm sorry, can I say one thing? If you look
Yes.
at those pictures, what we were saying about the replacement of, I showed, you can see where the pendant lights were replaced for puck lights, and the, the 4-foot, what do they call 4-foot, not neon lights, whatever you want to, what do they call them? Do you know?
The shop light type thing?
No, the long ones, that just normal fluorescent lighting, thank you, were replaced with the chandeliers. It has been that way since 2020. Like I said, I invited the building department to tour it, and they said nothing for almost 2 years.
Okay.
And then, so this is the part that is really upsetting, and it's in the email at the end. After that interaction with Carl Lynch, I wrote an email to pretty much everybody in the city and stated, that I'm actually in a doctor's care for mental health issues, and Carl Lynch replied to that email with, no more Scorpios. Well, first they sent the email to Buzzard's Roost with a password and username specific, so it was a confidential password. So Buzzard's Roost sent it to me with, oh, you're in trouble again, and I needed the password and the username to access it. But when I wrote a letter regarding how that affected me to the city, you can look on an internal email that Carl Lynch said Scorpios is no more Scorpios. Why would he be that like want to get rid of me that badly? What did I do to the city that was that horrible that he needs me gone?
Understood.
That's all I have to say. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry about that, the way that occurred. But I mean, my job is to determine whether or not there's a violation of the code. And I can't really comment on that other than to say that is unfortunate, but I'm here to look at the evidence about whether or not there's a violation. So, my question then for the city is, do you have any response, essentially, I think, to the statement that the work has been there since 2021, and there was no requirement to fix that in any way until now, is really what I'm hearing. Can you explain that, or?
I believe that in the fire report, they discovered that the arches, and they felt that they're possibly the work and the construction of what when you see that it would require some type of permit. That would probably be depending.
The fire department can't make that call.
But they made the recommendation, the building department probably have to come in.
Right, and that's when I invited the building department. That was the exact time I invited the building department to tour the restaurant. And you can even see a ladder in the picture on that day that I offered to the building department.
Is there do you have the building official here today, or I don't know if the fire inspectors can comment on why you would need a permit to switch out a fixture? I can see, I mean, to me, the brick archways, that seems to be a significant, change in the structure, but I'm just asking, can anyone explain why a permit is needed for just switching out the fixture of the lights?
I can't answer that question, but I can concur with Vinny that there were existing light fixtures in certain areas where there are new lights that were exchanged out. There is one area where there were not existing lights, and I believe no, if you go back, where is it at? That's that one.
Okay.
Yeah, there were pendants originally over the counter,
Right.
Yeah.
which looked to be 3 at one point, and then when you added this arch, it looks like there was additional lighting that was added. That might be what the building official was discussing with the new work.
All right. Thank you. All right. So how long do you think that it would take you to come into compliance to obtain a permit?
I don't feel that I need to. And they've had ample time. But why didn't they bring this up in 2021 when I invited them there?
So
And that's the thing, right? There's
Vinny,
no
if I
additional work.
can, if I can, I'm sorry. The last inspection we did at the facility was in September of 2019. When we went out and did the fire inspection on 4/13 of 2021 is when we discovered that it appears as though work had been done because the inspector at the time noticed the difference. So at that time, we invited, we said, please contact the building department for any permit submittal requirements. John Bowden was the building official at the time. He had since departed the city, and then I guess maybe Carl got involved more because he became the acting building official. And he visited the site, which Vinny mentioned, on August 4th of 2022, and that was when Carl advised that, yes, this is new work, you do need the permits.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we're at now.
He was on premise with John Bowden
The
that
first
day.
Okay.
He was.
Okay. Well, I
So
hear.
other than, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
other than the fact that he wants me gone, right, in his email that he wrote, no more Scorpios, there's no justification of waiting 2.5 years to request a permit.
If I can also make a suggestion, I
Yes.
apologize. Because we've gone through multiple building officials, it would be my suggestion, we do have a current building official who is now here, if we can ask that this building official visit the site and make a determination.
All right,
Okay.
so here's my answer to that. Oh, I'm sorry, are you done?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just wanted to add.
Here's my answer to that. In the process of preparation for this meeting, I paid the city $110 to give me the documents, proper documents, that I can compare myself, the work, and the building is over 60 years old. I'm not going to be held responsible for whatever the inspector finds. That if you're saying bring in a new inspector, I'm not going to be responsible for everything that's been done from the construction of this building to today's date. It's just, I mean, it'd be insane to say that. They're still welcome to come out. They're welcome to photograph as much as they want to prove that nothing will be done without a permit moving forward. But I guarantee you, if they went in the attic, most of the stuff would be out of, in any of our buildings, in any of our units, most of this stuff is going to be out of current code.
Well, I don't think anyone's suggesting that that's what's going to happen. What we're dealing with is a particular violation that's been alleged, which relates to the arches and this new lighting. So, you know, it sounds to me like it might be worth it to, and maybe Mr. Ron wants to
Special Magistrate, I recommend this case be continued to next month, and we'll get the new building official involved.
Yeah.
Since it's a ruling that has to do with permits, and he is in charge of the permits for the city of Deltona.
I think that would be wise. I think I'm going to go ahead and continue the case and allow the new building official to make a determination about whether there's a permit is needed. And again, you know, I want to, you know, make sure you understand I'm here to provide, you know, a fair,
You are, yes,
you know,
but
and
obviously Carl Lynch isn't.
well, I'm allowing you to provide the testimony that you need to provide. We'll come back in a month, and we'll hear from the building official.
So
But
you don't
again, even at
feel-
that time, excuse me,
No, go ahead.
even at that time, if I find that there's a violation, I still would provide additional time for you to come into compliance so that no, you know, fine would begin to run until, you know, further down the line, to give you time to get the permits.
Okay, so you don't feel that I made every effort for the building department to request those permits? Because I have. I mean, I've invited them twice, and four building officials, not just John, that is no longer with it, 4 building officials, including Carl Lynch, didn't deem it necessary at that point to request anything more. And if I wouldn't have done that, then I can understand your position, right? But since I did do that and none of them found the need to apply for anything 2 years ago. So
Understood. I understand
So
the
how does
argument you're making.
how does that treat me
Essentially,
fairly?
no, essentially, I think what you're arguing, I mean, this is a legal term, but essentially what you're arguing is that the city has delayed too long and not wait, you know, which we refer to as latches. That's a legal doctrine, essentially, meaning that the city is delayed too long and cannot now enforce the code. I don't think that doctrine applies here. Latches usually applies only in really rare circumstances and when there's delays that are much longer than 2 years. And also not dealing with a safety issue, which really is what the codes are here for, the building codes. So that, you know, I'm not inclined to roll in your favor based on the delay.
Okay,
So
but
really
it's
what
not
I'm
a delay.
interested.
It was a non-issue, right?
Well,
it's not a delay. It was a non-issue when I invited
It's not a
them.
non-issue because they have now stated that a permit's required. So the issue for me is whether or not a permit is required, and I'd like to hear from the building official on that. So I'm going to continue the case.
That's fine.
For
Now,
30
what
days
about-
until the next hearing, and we'll see if the
you
building
believe this-
official continues to feel that a permit is required.
All right. Do you feel that my request for existing permits and documentation for improvements on that building are necessary? Because I don't see how they can say that there wasn't even lighting that was covered that were existing with that. Right. Okay, let's go move on.
You know, I can't advise you on, I mean, I am.
But I paid for that. I paid for the city to provide me with
Right.
building schematics of existing construction. And they sent me tons of stuff. Thankfully, well, not thankfully, because it really upset me, the Carl Lynch Scorpio, no more Scorpios. So I guess I'm glad. I'd pay $100 just to have to be able to show that.
This work, the arches, I'm talking specifically about the arches and the lighting that's new. Those were added by you, correct?
They were changed to.
Arches were added.
The arches were added, but they're non-load bearing. Is there anybody here that can attest
Well,
that you don't
again,
need?
that's why I'm continuing the case. So I don't want to argue with you,
Okay,
sir.
we're done. Yeah, we're good.
I'm going to continue it. That's why I'm doing it, to make sure that the building official can opine about why a permit is needed. I don't know, I mean, whether or not, if it's a non-load bearing arch, if that would mean that there would not be a permit required. It seems that if there's lighting that's been added, an electrical permit's probably required for that. I know, that much. But I'm going to allow the building official to opine on it, and I'm going to hear from him or her next month. Okay?
Mr. Scorpios, the next hearing will be June 28th, but we'll be in touch with the building official.
Is that a good, okay date?
All right, thank you. So I'm continuing this case until June 28th. Thank you. Oh, and I will, sir, sorry, before you, may I keep these for the file? Okay, so I'm going to keep these pages that you provided to me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm counting 15 pages. You don't have a clip or anything, do you have a paper clip? All right, so I'm going to keep these for the file for next month, and they'll go in there.
Let me just ask one more question. I do request the building permits and schematics that I paid for. I mean, specifically, that's what the email request is. I think that that's important, that they're able to give me that so I can prove what was and was not there. Because even if something was covered and we uncovered it and used it and it was existing, that's okay. You're allowed to do that. So
again, I will hear from the building official about that. If you have a public records request that's pending for...
they, as far as they're concerned, they fulfilled it. And they didn't.
In your view, they did not?
They never gave me any schematics or permits at all.
Okay.
So no, they gave me a bunch of emails and a bunch of letters and existing fire inspections, but nothing to do with building permits or pre-existing construction.
Okay. I don't, again, I'm not here to rule on whether the city has complied with a public records request. So, but I would suggest, Mr. Ron, if you can follow up on the gentleman's public records requests and ensure that the documents that he's asked for are going to be provided. If they aren't provided by the next meeting, which is June 28th, then that might be, I'll have to, hear that at that time, but it might be a reason to continue it further. So I'm asking if you can follow up on that.
Understood, we'll do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is case 23-188, 2627 Beale Street.
My name is Janice Polasek, and I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 23-188, the City of Deltona versus House Guru, LLC. The property address is 2627 Beale Street. The parcel ID number is 813-074-010-020. This property is being brought before the special magistrate for more than one violation. These violations are as follows. Violation A. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent, who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. Corrective action for said violation is obtain a permit for the shed. I'm going to go into my narratives for each violation, and then I'll read the next violation in the next narrative, just to keep everything in order.
Okay, thank you.
The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. Violation A. On February 9, 2023, while addressing this property for another violation, I looked into the backyard and observed a shed in the back of the property. I checked in our system and found there was no permit on file for the shed. I looked on property appraisers and found that prior to March 2020, there was no shed located on this property. I spoke with the property manager, Sunny Milo, a few times, and she informed me that she would be going to City Hall to pull permits for the shed. On March 2, 2023, after confirming that no permit had been obtained for the shed, I posted a notice of violation onto the garage door at 2627 Beale Street. A certified copy was also mailed out to the property owner. On May 5, 2023, after confirming there was still no permit on file for the shed, I posted a notice of hearing onto the home at 2627 Beale Street. An affidavit of service was also filled out, as well as a certified mailing was sent to the property owner. As of today, there is still no permit on file for the shed. Violation B. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of any building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. The corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for a fence. The fence permit was actually pulled today just before the close of business, so the city would like to withdraw that case. Violation C. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance, Section 110-822. No trailer, mobile home, basement, tent, shack, garage, barn, or other similar building erected on any lot shall at any time be used as residence temporarily or permanently, nor shall any residence of a temporary character be permitted. Corrective action for said violation is cease use of the unapproved residence. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notification of hearing and notification of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On March 2nd, 2023, I addressed a violation regarding an SUV with out-of-state plates being parked on the left side of the home. When I asked the resident living inside the home about the vehicle, I was told that it belonged to a woman living inside the shed located in the backyard. I contacted the property manager, Ms. Milo, regarding the possibility of someone living inside the shed, which she denied. On March 8th, 2023, I obtained video evidence as well as a lease agreement from Ms. Evelyn Black, who was living inside the shed on the property and paying rent to Ms. Milo. On March 30th, 2023, after repeated efforts to visit the property was canceled by Ms. Milo to confirm that no one was living inside the shed, I posted a notice of violation onto the garage door at 2627 Beale Street. A certified copy was also mailed out to the property owner. On May 5th, 2023, after I was unable to confirm that no one was living inside the shed, I posted a notice of hearing onto the home at 2627 Beale Street. An affidavit of service was also filled out, as well as a certified mailing was sent to the property owner. As of today, I am still unable to confirm that no one was living inside the shed. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $100 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner notifies the city of compliance.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last thing? It was the fine you requested?
$100 per day, $50 for each violation, the one for the shed that has no permit and the one for someone living inside the shed.
Okay, so $100 total.
Total.
And you suggested 30 days?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Can you state your name and address for the record?
Sunny Milo. The property address is 2627 Beale Street in Deltona.
Okay. And how are you related to the property?
I'm the owner.
You're the owner. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What would you like to tell me about the case?
Okay, so for starters, and I want to apologize that we have not been in good communication whatsoever. I received a call, I think it was, and let me rewind. I've never had any issues with the city of Deltona whatsoever in the last 20 years that, I've owned numerous homes here. So I definitely don't want to have any issues. That's why we haven't involved our legal team, et cetera, because I think this is a very simple case of definitely miscommunication. So I believe it was March 8th that I had spoken with Janice, right? Sorry. Okay, I spoke with Janice on the telephone. At that time, the issue was the tenant at 2627 Beale had claimed that the heat was not getting hot enough inside the house. We sent over several technicians immediately to find out what was going on, et cetera. It resulted in the fact that the gas was actually not connected. This, once again, I don't think is something that was well conveyed from me to Janice as far as the situation, so she had to go out again to confirm with them that it was fixed and fine. At that time, she had inquired with me about the shed and the fence, and 100%, that is something that should have been taken care of. My husband was the one that usually took care of the properties. He had recently passed away, as I informed Janice on the phone, so I was a little bit in disarray as far as what was what at that point in time. We had already had, and mind you, when I was on the phone with her, my son was in the hospital. He was hospitalized at that point in time. So she had offered to meet with me that day, but because he was admitted into Orlando Children's Hospital, I wasn't able to leave to meet her that exact day. Following up on March 22nd, let's see here. So I had come in person to figure out exactly what paperwork was needed as far as getting the permits submitted. I wanted to go ahead and take care of the paperwork that day. I spoke with Milton at that time, but Milton had informed me that the survey that I had was outdated because I guess it needed to be within 2 years, according to him. So I went ahead and requested immediately another survey to be done on the premises. The other survey was done and completed, which I provided you guys a copy of today because I tried to submit it yesterday, but you guys don't accept digital copies and it needed to be the entire length, I guess, of a regular drawing. Went ahead and took care of that. The problem was we were scheduled to handle my husband's affairs, so we had to go out of the country. So I initially had scheduled with Janice to come out to the property. I believe it was on the 30th. For them to go ahead and do, or for her to go do an inspection to make sure there was no one residing or anything like that, or whatever she wanted to do as far as to look around. And just to recap, the entire reason that that shed is there is for building supplies, 110% for building supplies. So I came in and I personally requested a sooner inspection because she was going to be off for a few days. So I asked to speak to a supervisor to see if someone could come out in her place before we had a flight. So that's when I believe Danny, I had spoken with him. He said that was no problem, that he would come out and take a look, to make sure everything was good and that he would inform, Janice, et cetera. I told him I was concerned about having the permit done, prior to us leaving because we were going to be gone for a considerable amount of time. He said it's going to be fine. You're in compliance. You can take care of it when you get back. That day, en route to the property, which we could still show the property wasn't a problem, en route to the property, he actually had discovered us on Providence. My truck had broken down, so I had like 4 sheriffs out there, and it was just a nightmare. We had a tow and everything like that. But that brings us to touching upon the part of a resident in the backyard. So the person that I rent to, their name is Shane, and I believe her father's name is Robert. Those are my tenants at 2627 Beale. Outside of them trying to evade paying rent because of heat or whatnot, I really didn't have any issues with them. We have it very strict in our lease agreements that they are to comply with city or county in any kind of issues, and we support city or county for anything that they find to be a problem. I don't, go out to these properties unless it's something that ends up on my lap or if they need us. And most of the time we just schedule workers to go out. It's not something that I actually see people face to face. So addressing that, I had went ahead and scheduled with Danny, mind you, to come do the inspection. I went to the property the day before, and I had seen some random things in the yard that I thought didn't sit well, that perhaps was correct, that maybe there was a squatter at the property or something along that line. A few years back in the city of Deltona, we had an issue with a trespasser, and that was a nightmare as far as what they wanted us to follow. They wanted us to follow like regular eviction patterns to post notices, and that was a learning process. So we went ahead and I posted the notice just in case somebody was back there, posted notice, et cetera. Came back out that morning to see if there was any further activity because I posted a notice to enter. We went ahead and did so. It appeared that there was someone that was squatting at the property, and I did see where there was an SUV that was parked outside. I asked the tenants if it belonged to them. They said no. So I went ahead and called a tow company, and I called the sheriff's department. The sheriff came out, and I informed them that we wanted to trespass whomever was at the property. Nobody was there at that point in time. A woman did show up with another woman, saying that certain belongings were hers, et cetera. I even told her at that time, with the sheriff there, I said, if you even know my name, if you have any information whatsoever, if you have a lease agreement, because you have to have a written lease agreement in the state of Florida, a verbal agreement can't even be acknowledged, so please provide something to the sheriff that you reside here. Absolutely nothing. Okay, I told the tow guys to hook up the SUV, pull it out. That was it. So I did attempt to getting you guys the police records as far as the events that transpired that day for the trespassing and the tow, et cetera. But it is something that has to be requested, and it did not get to me in a timely manner, so I'd be more than happy to supply that if need be. That's not a problem whatsoever. The issue with time frame-wise, certified mail did get sent out to my office, but I was out of the country. So every time I was calling Janice, I was calling her inappropriate hours because of our time difference. But as soon as I received the certified notice, when I got back into town, I called and I spoke with Renee, and Renee had discussed it with me briefly. I came in yesterday with the updated survey. Like I said, they told me to come in and revisit today. The fence permit was pulled. The problem is the shed permit, because we're an LLC, needs to be done by a GC. So that was the delay. We have all the building drawings and whatnot for the shed. That's not an issue. But as far as having a GC involved to pull the permit itself, we need to get that done. So I mean, that can be done pretty promptly. We deal with all types of workers and whatnot in the area, so that's not an issue.
Okay.
Feel free to ask any questions. Sorry, I know that was very winded.
The lease, I have this lease agreement here, though, that was provided to me.
I saw a picture of that while sitting here, which I find kind of entertaining. It's very funny that when the sheriff was there the day of trespassing, they claimed they had no agreement with me. There was no paperwork whatsoever. And then magically in this packet today, there is a picture of some form of lease agreement, which doesn't even depict signatures.
Right. I don't see any signatures on it.
And I have a copy of the whole, I didn't want to put the whole lease on the photos.
You do have, okay. I would like to see that.
Yeah, I didn't, it's a lot of pages, I didn't want to put them all on one.
Okay, well, I'd like to see it. And also, do you have a copy for the owner? Yeah.
And the woman that was trespassed that day, there was 2 women that showed up on site. There was an older woman, which it states an elderly woman in the paperwork. I'd never met her before in my life. The younger woman, kind of a heavy-set woman that was with her, she is someone that I had showed 2627 Beale to prior to signing an agreement with Shane and Bob. I cannot prove that they gave her permission or had any correlation, obviously. So I can't prove that there is a breach of their lease agreement in order to terminate their agreement. I did have a very detailed conversation with them as far as what was permitted and not permitted in order to not get evicted. Given the circumstances, I think that not renewing their lease is probably in our best interest. But I can't specifically terminate their lease without proof, that they allowed this or knew. Now, granted, I would know if somebody was living in my backyard, but, there's nothing that I can really do about that legally.
Okay, I'd like to hand this back and let the owner look at this. Like you to take a look at the lease and let me know if this is something that you've signed. Because it does appear there is a signature in the landlord signature. Eventually, but let's let her look at it. Do you recognize that document?
I will tell you that it appears to be the structure of lease agreements that we use. I did not do a lease agreement with either of these people, and I don't know who in the world this other person is that's on the front of here. But yeah, I mean, as far as the format goes, it definitely looks like ours. I can assure you that I never did a lease agreement with an individual to live in a yard. Like, that's just not even something. I mean, in the last 20 years, if that was something that I was into, this would not be the first case you would find. But no, I can assure you that I did not sign this with these particular tenants.
Are you, so have you been, since the day, what date was it that you said the sheriff came out and you had the car towed?
I believe that was the 24th, according to the sheriff's department when I spoke to them yesterday.
April 24th?
I'm sorry, that would have been March 24th?
March 24th?
Yeah, March 24th.
Okay.
And I'd be more than happy to, if I need to get any kind of affidavit from either of the officers that were out there, I have no problem doing so.
Okay. And since then, you're not aware of any person being in, or are you aware of any person being in the shed, living there?
Not at all. So we put up trespassing notices, and to be honest with you, I don't know if there was ever someone in the shed, but I do know that there was someone that appeared to be in the backyard. But as far as we put up no trespassing. We also deadbolted the fence so no one can get into the rear unless there is a key access. Like I said, we had the vehicle towed that day. We had trespassing done. I asked her directly to provide any form of documentation that she had to the sheriff's department right that moment. There was absolutely nothing that they could provide.
Okay.
So I find that kind of ironic. So I don't know what date this was provided. Do you know what day that this was given to you? Yeah, can I keep this, or do you need this?
No, I need that.
We do
We'll make
need
a
it,
copy.
but we
make
can have a
copy.
copy made for you.
Okay, thank you.
When I got back to work on March 8th, I had received the copy in my mailbox. So I think it was a day or two prior to that she came in and provided the video evidence as well as this lease agreement.
Okay.
I just don't see how March 8th is possible when they couldn't provide anything on the 24th. Yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to ask the city, so since March 24th, do you have any evidence that someone is living in the shed?
I have no evidence that anybody is living in there, but I don't have any evidence that somebody is not living there either.
Okay.
And
Well,
by
I
all
can't
means, there
base a
won't be count.
violation. I can't find a violation if you don't have evidence that that's currently occurring.
Okay.
So, the absence of evidence isn't really enough for me to find a violation. So I think what I'm going to do is find that there's no violation on the Section 110-822. That doesn't mean that the city can't, bring another case if they find further evidence of it. And certainly I would encourage you to monitor what's going on that property to make sure that, someone isn't trespassing and living there. But I'm not going to find a violation on 110-822 without recent evidence that someone's actually living there. So then on the permit for the shed, it sounded like that was you needed the general contractor.
Correct, yeah, that's why I
Right.
took care of the fence, but I need the general contractor to come in and file for the shed. So we have the drawings for it, we just don't have or I should say we have the packet, the building packet for it or whatnot, but we do not have the GC hired yet.
All right, and what do you believe would be a reasonable time for you to have that accomplished?
I mean, if you want to give me 30 days, you can. I don't think it'll take that long. I would assume maybe a week or two at the very most. I mean,
Okay.
it's at your discretion.
All right. So I'm going to admit the case file as Exhibit A, but I'm going to admit, in addition to that, the lease that was signed, the version, because it wasn't in the packet here. So I'm going to admit that as Exhibit B as well. As I said before, I'm not going to find a violation on violation C, which was for Section 110-822. But with respect to the permit needed for the shed, I am going to find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on June 23rd, which is 30 days.
Okay. And if I could please, not to reiterate again, but if I could please get a copy of that lease agreement?
Yes.
Or any documents that are associated that were
Yes.
turned in with it?
So let me finish my ruling. So in the event respondent does not comply by the state, I'm going to do a fine in the amount of $25 per day, and that's based on the fact that they have made strides towards trying to comply with getting the survey and so forth, and so they're just missing the last kind of component. So I'm going to do $25 per day. that will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. The respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. So please make sure you stay in contact with her and try to get that permit by June 23rd. And I will, if someone can make a copy of that lease, I don't know who can do that, but we want to get you a copy made before you go. Okay?
Perfect. Did you guys still want me to turn in anything from the police department regarding them coming out or the tow company?
I don't need it.
And I do also have, before I came out here, I did take a video and some photographs, if that made anybody feel better, you know, as far as...
Well, I already ruled on that, so I mean, frankly, I don't need to see it. So...
Perfect. So
Not
by
necessary.
June 23rd, which, like I said, we'll have them retained, you know, this week. So hopefully, based on their time schedule, they'll have it turned around within 2.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right. All right, this is, so we're going to move to the fire cases now. Sorry, thank you for your patience. So this would be case 6-2023-2901 Howland Boulevard.
For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number fire-000006-2023, the City of Deltona versus Cole FD Portfolio 3 LLC. The property address is 2901 Howland Boulevard, Deltona, Florida, 32738. Parcel ID is 813-0391-30080. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of the Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1, Fire Code, and NFPA 101, Life Safety Code. Particularly Section 13.1.6 of NFPA 1, requiring detailed records documenting all fire protection systems and equipment testing and maintenance shall be kept by the property owner, shall be made available upon request for review by the authority having jurisdiction. The corrective action for said violations is to contact a licensed fire sprinkler contractor to have quarterly and semi-annual fire sprinkler inspections and testing conducted on the system per NFPA 25 and provide all that written documentation, including fire inspection reports, to the Fire Safety Division. The statutory requirements for this notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day that they were taken. Narrative. So on August 19th, 2021, Fire Safety Inspector Ajory Bailey conducted a fire inspection at this location. Amongst several other violations, which have such been corrected, he requested a copy of the most recent quarterly and semi-annual fire sprinkler inspection/maintenance reports. He did receive a copy of the annual fire sprinkler inspection/maintenance reports dated September 4th, 2020. However, between this date of September 4th, 2020 and August 19th, 2021, there would have been approximately 2 to 3 quarterly fire sprinkler inspections done, as they are due every 3 months per NFPA 25. Inspector Bailey conducted another reinspection of this location on July 26, 2021, in which no further fire sprinkler maintenance reports were provided. At this point, the system would have been due for 3 additional quarterly inspections. Subsequent follow-up inspections were conducted on August 19th, September 24th, and October 21st, 2021. During the October 21st, 2021 reinspection, Inspector Bailey was provided with a copy of the annual fire sprinkler maintenance report with noted deficiencies on the fire sprinkler system. The system still did not have quarterly and semi-annual inspections being conducted in accordance with NFPA 25 or any reports of such inspections provided. Inspector Bailey conducted another follow-up inspection on May 12th, 2022, and still was not provided with any further fire sprinkler inspection reports. This system would have been due for a minimum of 2 quarterly inspections at this point since the previous annual fire inspection report. On July 25th, 2022, Inspector Bailey and Code Compliance Officer Muis met on site with Mr. Aldrich, the new store manager, and described to him in detail what the fire sprinkler system required in terms of inspection, testing, and maintenance per NFPA 25 and the documentation requirements. No further inspection reports had been provided at this point. Inspector Bailey conducted a follow-up inspection on September 23rd, 2022, in which he received a copy of the annual fire sprinkler report dated September 6, 2022, with no deficiencies. However, no evidence of the 3 quarterly fire sprinkler inspections, which would have been required to have been conducted between this most recent annual report and the previous annual report, were provided. Inspector Bailey conducted another follow-up inspection on January 24th, 2023, in which no further fire sprinkler inspections had been conducted. At this point, at least 1 quarterly fire sprinkler inspection would have been due. Inspector Bailey conducted a follow-up inspection on March 7th, 2023, in which he found the fire sprinkler contractor had now changed from Quick Response Fire Protection to ADT Commercial LLC, and received a copy of an annual fire sprinkler inspection report dated January 30th, 2023. However, no reports for quarterly or semi-annual fire sprinkler inspection reports were provided. On April 4th, 2023, Inspector Bailey conducted another reinspection and found no progress on conducting the quarterly fire sprinkler inspections or providing the paperwork to our office, as one would have been due at this point and had not been conducted. On May 2nd, 2023, Inspector Bailey conducted another reinspection in which he found no further inspections had been conducted on the system and no paperwork for the inspections provided. On May 22nd, 2023, we received via email an annual fire sprinkler maintenance report from Quick Response Fire Protection dated May 22nd, 2023. However, to date, no quarterly or semi-annual fire sprinkler inspections have been conducted, and no paperwork containing the inspection, testing, or maintenance reports as requested by the authority having jurisdiction have been provided to our office. This property has been given approximately 20 months to come into compliance. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance by providing written documentation for the quarterly fire sprinkler reports and that they are on schedule with a licensed fire sprinkler contractor to have quarterly and semi-annual fire sprinkler inspections conducted, or a fine of $20 per day until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, I'm very confused. How can I order them to come into compliance if they didn't get the inspections done going back, what, over 3 years now? I mean, are you asking me to find that they have to now get inspections, that many inspections that they've missed since 2020?
So going forward from this point, we'd like to ask that by the next time that they're due for a quarterly fire sprinkler inspection report, that it is done.
Okay, but I can't order that because that's something that happens in the future, right? I mean, if they missed the last one, I could order that they come into compliance and do one now, but they have not. I can't order them to do something in the future when they haven't violated a code up to this point, right? At that point, when that becomes due. So I'm struggling to understand what it is you would like me to order. I mean, and the reason I could, for example, if you're telling me it was hard to follow all the dates, but let's say for argument purposes that a quarterly inspection should have been due on April 1st, I can find a violation on that and say you have to come into compliance. But I thought I also heard you say that they did turn in an inspection report in May. So that, and this month. So you would expect them to submit another one?
That's correct. Essentially, NFPA 25 sets forth the inspection criteria, and at each inspection, whether it be an annual, a quarterly, or a semi-annual, different things are checked.
Okay.
So between, and I apologize, I should have clarified that at the beginning, but between January 30th, 2023 and May 22nd, 2023, there would have been at least one quarterly inspection that would have been conducted because the system would have been due. However, they've skipped over it and done an annual inspection, which is a different form of inspection.
I see. And I saw that you were, no, you're good now. Okay, okay, okay. All right, so can you, I don't think, did you provide me a copy of the actual code section here that you have, 13.1.6?
I don't think I did. I have on my notes here, I have written down what the code section does state.
Can you read it to me again?
Yes. Section 13.1.6 of NFPA 1 requires detailed records documenting all fire protection systems and equipment testing and maintenance shall be kept by the property owner and shall be made available upon request for review by the AHJ.
All right. And then essentially another section of the NFPA requires the quarterly and annual?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And semi-annual? Is that what you said?
Quarterly, semi-annual, and annual.
Okay. And so at this point, what is it that they have missed for 2023?
For 2023, they've missed one quarterly inspection.
Okay. All right. So what I'm inclined to do then, and I believe you said $25, was that your recommendation on the fine?
That's correct.
Okay, so what I'm inclined to do then is to say that they are in violation of this section and that to come into compliance, they have to have that quarterly inspection done within the 30 days or a $25 per day fine would be imposed.
That's correct.
Is that consistent with what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file as Exhibit A. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on June 23rd by submitting a quarterly fire inspection report. And in the event the respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. And then, of course, if you have issues where they fail to turn in subsequent quarterly inspections that are due, then you could come back to me. But I can't order something, for in the future if it's a violation hasn't occurred yet. Okay?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was for her, but she left. Did she leave? Oh, she got her copy, and then this is for our case file then? Okay. Again, let's put this in the, okay, but can you put this one in the, yes, that was case 23-188. Yes, thank you. Okay, the next case is Fire 7-2023. That's 1001 Alabaster Way.
For the record, my name is Samuel Schaller. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as the Assistant Fire Marshal. This will be case number Fire-000007-2023, the City of Deltona versus SNR 24 Sterling Court Owner, LLC. The property address is 1001 Alabaster Way, Deltona, Florida, 32725. Parcel ID is 813-078-000030. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance, Chapter 42, Article 4, Fire Codes, Chapter 42-186, which adopts the most recent edition of the Florida Fire Prevention Code as adopted by the State Fire Marshal, which contains the Florida-specific version of NFPA 1 Fire Code and NFPA 101 Life Safety Code. More specifically, to list the violations in the chapters, NFPA 1, Chapter 7.9.3.1.1, which requires functional testing of the emergency lighting to be conducted monthly, and written documentation of the testing of the emergency lighting system to be provided to the authority holding jurisdiction. NFPA 1, Chapter 13.3.3.2, which requires the fire sprinkler system to be inspected and maintained in accordance with NFPA 25, including correcting deficiencies to the fire sprinkler system when identified. NFPA 1, Chapter 50.5.6.15, requiring a certificate of periodic kitchen exhaust hood cleaning and inspection be submitted to the AHJ when required. Other violations on the property observed are that of the National Electric Code, NFPA 70, 2017 edition, Article 700 F2, which requires exit and emergency lighting to be installed in the same branch circuit that serves the normal lighting in the area, and Florida Statute 633-312, requiring privately owned and maintained fire hydrants to be inspected in accordance with NFPA 25 annually by a licensed contractor, and providing the inspection/testing reports to the authority having jurisdiction for review.
Pause. Can you go back to the one you just read and read it for me one more time? Which section was that?
The last one, Florida Statute 633-312.
Yep. And can you read that for me one more time?
It requires privately owned and maintained fire hydrants to be inspected in accordance with NFPA 25 annually by a licensed contractor, and then providing the inspection/testing reports to the authority holding jurisdiction for review.
Okay, can you, you have quite a few codes here listed. Did you read, did you tell me for 13.1.9? Did you read that for me? And I missed it. I have chapter 13.1.9, and then I don't know if I heard 13.7.3.1.1.4 and 13.1.6.
Yes, ma'am. Between right now and approximately 2:30 p.m. today, was it? Fire Safety Inspector Bailey went out to this site and found that the violations you just listed were to be in compliance.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is 13.1.9, 13.7.3.1.1.4.
Yes, ma'am.
And 13.1.6 is in compliance.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Proceed.
Thank you. Corrective action for said violations is to provide current written testing logs of testing for all emergency lighting systems in the building, provide inspection, testing, maintenance reports of the privately owned fire hydrants to the Fire Safety Division, contact a licensed fire sprinkler contractor to correct all identified deficiencies to the fire sprinkler system, hardwire the exit sign in the healthcare therapy area to the same branch circuit serving the normal lighting in the area, and provide a current copy of the kitchen exhaust system hood inspection/cleaning service report, along with photographs of before and after the cleaning. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violations were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On September 14th, 2022, Fire Safety Inspector Joy Bailey conducted a fire inspection at this location. Amongst several other violations which have since been corrected, he observed the above-mentioned violations. He informed the property manager and maintenance staff of the aforementioned violations and the corrective action needed. Due to the extensive list of violations found in the initial inspection, they were given until January 12th, 2023 to correct said violations. Upon re-inspection on January 12th, 2023, it was found that one violation on the initial inspection report had been corrected. However, all other items remained outstanding. Fire Safety Inspector Bailey conducted a secondary re-inspection on February 27th, 2023. It was found that 3 more items had been corrected. However, the above-mentioned violations, among several others, had remained outstanding. April 13th, 2023, Fire Safety Inspector Bailey conducted another follow-up inspection in which all violations except for the above-mentioned outstanding violations were corrected. Fire Safety Inspector Bailey conducted yet another re-inspection on May 8th, 2023, in which no progress was made to the violations. Today, May 24th, 2023, Fire Safety Inspector Joy Bailey conducted another re-inspection in which he found progress made to multiple violations on the property. However, the above-mentioned issues still remain in which they were not corrected. We've made 6 total visits to the property. In closing, the city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $200 per day until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay. Can you, so just to go through this, code by code. So for the first one, you have 7.9.3.1.1. That would require you to get, that would be testing of the emergency lighting monthly, correct?
That's correct. And then written evidence of the testing provided to our office.
Okay, and so they've missed the last monthly.
There have been to date, I believe, and Chief Shivers can answer too, I don't believe we've received any emergency lighting testing records ever.
Okay. But they have missed the last one, so that really they need to, again, you're not asking me to find that they give you.
Not in the future, just for what they've missed previously.
Well, but the last one, right?
The last one.
Not for every month since the existence of this building.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so the last monthly report, and that is currently missing. And then for 13.3.3.2, can you remind me that one, what is missing?
13.3.3.2 requires the fire sprinkler system to be maintained in accordance with NFPA 25. What was discovered today was on the slide here when we'll get to it. The fire sprinkler system was yellow tagged.
For what reason?
We reached out. They didn't have any documentation of why it was yellow tagged. We did reach out to the sprinkler contractor that yellow tagged it. They did not respond.
Okay.
The yellow tag, though, it indicates there's some form of an impairment to the system.
Okay, and then the contractor that inspects it is the one that yellow tagged it?
That's correct.
Okay. And does it state on there that it's that it violates the NFPA section 25, I believe is what you said? I mean, does it recognize that the reason is because it violates the NFPA?
So under the Florida statute, each sprinkler system, when it gets tagged, has a color coding system.
Okay.
Green tag means everything's kosher, it's fine. Yellow tag means there's some form of impairment or a deficiency. There's also a red tag, which means essentially the sprinkler has a critical impairment to it.
Okay.
So by seeing a yellow tag, that's essentially the contractor's way of letting us know, to catch our attention and let us know there is a deficiency to this system right now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the property owner didn't have the records for the most recent inspection to provide to us. So we reached out to the
So you don't know exactly what was the
Exactly,
issue?
yes, ma'am. So we did reach out to the contractor just so we had a better understanding of the situation. Yeah, we emailed, I got this from Inspector Bailey at 2:30. I emailed the contractor immediately after, which they did provide us with a bit of the documentation that cleared up some of the issues on the initial NOV. They did not have any documentation that they were able to provide of why it was yellow tagged.
Does the statute explain what would be the reason, like the kind of range of issues that would result in a yellow tag versus another type of tag?
It falls back to NFPA 25, which has specific checklists that the sprinkler contractors have to fill out for a quarterly, semi-annual, or an annual inspection. And depending on what items are marked as deficiencies in that checklist is what determines if it gets a green tag or a yellow tag.
Okay, thank you. And then for 50.5.6.15, that is the certificate for the kitchen exhausts being cleaned?
That's correct. Kitchen exhaust hood cleaning and being inspected.
And that's monthly, or?
It depends on the volume of cooking.
Oh.
I believe for this occupancy, it's every 6 months. Yeah, it's either every 3 months for cooking involving heavy, grease-laden vapors, 6 months for your ordinary cooking operations, or annually for a, light cooking operation, maybe a church. They did have a tag on the hood indicating it has been inspected and cleaned, but there was no form documentation providing what was cleaned, that all the components of the exhaust hood were in working order. They didn't have that documentation to provide to us.
Okay. When was it, does it say when it was inspected? I can't read that.
I believe Chief Shivers has it on her tablet. She can give you the date.
It looks as though it was cleaned on January 2022, and it was due March of 2023. So they're doing it annually.
Okay.
And due in March of 2023?
It would have been due March of 2023.
So
yes.
they haven't had that inspection completed. Okay, thank you. And then so this is Article 700.12. This was the exit and emergency lighting being on the same circuit. And are you able to testify that you inspected that and know that it's not on the same circuit?
It appears from the pictures, if we can go to them, you can see where the exit sign was added, and there's a piece of electrical conduit where it's tied into a electrical receptacle instead.
I see.
Instead of the circuit serving the lighting for the room.
Okay. All right, and then the last one was getting the privately owned fire hydrants inspected, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And providing the inspection testing reports to our office for the review.
Okay, and is this what you're showing me, the green tag on this, or?
That's correct. So they were inspected. They just did not provide the paperwork for the actual inspections of what was inspected, what their flow pressure was.
All right, so for this one and the previous one with the yellow tag, since they clearly have been inspected, you would anticipate that they can provide the documentation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you believe that 30 days will be sufficient to accomplish all of that?
Yes, ma'am. I also did reach out to the contractor that did inspect the fire hydrants and requested a copy of the report directly through them. I do also believe that Fire Safety Inspector Bailey has reached out to the contractor that did clean the hood and request that there was a copy of the certificate of cleaning and inspection submitted to us. And then he also did explain in detail to the maintenance staff on the site about the emergency lighting testing, how to test it, what a typical emergency testing log would look like, and then what the requirements for having the exit signage placed onto the local circuit, and that they, of course, would need to get an electrician to have that work done.
Okay. Yeah, I think the only thing that concerns me there is if the electrician is doing it, 30 days does not seem like a lot of time to get a permit. And
I don't know if they need a permit or not, if it's actually going to be considered an extension of the branch circuit, or if it's simply going to be tying in an existing fixture. The exit sign was originally powered by an extension cord that was spliced into the back of it.
would you be willing to do 60 days, or is it very 40?
In the event that they do need a permit, maybe do 45.
Okay. All right. I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, so that was actually what I was about to suggest.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Did you have anything else to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm admitting the case file is Exhibit A. And I am going to find that the respondent in this case is in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m., the violations, several, before 4:00 p.m. on July 8th, which is 45 days, or a fine in the amount of $200 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. The respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's that? Okay. Is that the last of the fire cases? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your patience and for answering my questions. So I'm not as familiar with all of the ins and outs of the fire code. Yeah, thank you. All right. So the next case is 23-023. It's a Massey case, 1791 Amero Avenue.
I would like to begin by making a correction to the agenda that is be noted. The section should be 18-5 and not 18-53. 18-5.
Yes.
My name is Todd Mead. I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This is a Massey case number DEL 23-023. The City of Deltona versus Marie Florence Strickland. The property address is 1791 Amero Ave, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-065-060-080. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. It was ruled on February 22nd, 2023, that the property owner was given 30 days to comply. The owner did not come into compliance within those 30 days and has been receiving a fine of $50 a day since 3/25/2023. As of today, the property has accrued a total fine of $3,050 over 61 days. The city is requesting the fines continue at $50 per day.
Okay. Give me just a moment. Just saw it. Okay. Okay, so I'm showing on here, it says May 16th is the date that you posted the property. Is that right? That's what's in the affidavit.
May affidavit of service. Let me see. Yes, 14th. Posted on the 14th, but the day I had the affidavit, I signed the affidavit of service was on the 16th. I posted the property for the NOH on the Massey hearing for the 14th.
Okay.
That's what the 16th was the day I created the affidavit of service document.
Right. Okay. Yeah, in the future, if you're going to do that, make sure that you put on here the date that you actually posted it.
Posted it,
So that, I know that the 10 days has been provided.
Okay.
But okay, so the, can you go through these pictures from today? Oh, no, today's pictures. All right. All right, so I see that there's still paint and,
Right, most of the exterior walls, can you see the siding falling off the house?
right,
Still basically in the same condition it was from the first day we noticed the property and was brought to it through a resident complaint. I believe the house is vacant, but I cannot verify that for today.
okay. Thank you. All right, I find that the notices were properly given in this case. I'm going to admit the case file as Exhibit A. And I find that the respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and a fine will be imposed as set forth in that order and will continue to run until the property is brought into compliance and an affidavit of compliance has been filed by the code inspector. The respondent shall notify the code inspector to verify compliance. Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, this is 23-171, Massey case, 631 Cloudcroft Drive.
My name is Taylor Sukup. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a Code Compliance Officer. This will be Massey case number DEL 23171, the City of Deltona versus Daniel Dwight. The property address is 631 Cloudcroft Drive. The parcel ID number is 813-042-130190. The statutory requirements for this notification of hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. It was ruled on March 29th, 2023 that the property owner was given 30 days to comply. The property owner did not come into compliance within those 30 days and has been receiving a fine of $50 a day since April 29th of 2023. As of today, the property accrued a total fine of $2,850 over the 57 days. The city is requesting that the fines continue at $50 per day.
Okay. And then is this the pictures from today?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see large portions or panels of the fence missing still. All right. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file as Exhibit A. And I find that respondent in this case failed to correct the violation by the time specified in the special magistrate's prior order in this case, and the fine will be imposed as set forth in that order and will continue to run until the property is brought into compliance and an affidavit of compliance has been filed by the code inspector. Respondent shall notify the code inspector to verify compliance.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, this is 23-035, 1382 Howland Boulevard. Go ahead.
My name is Marion Laracy. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance supervisor. This is in reference to case number DEL 23-035, City of Deltona versus Save-A-Lot, EGE Holdings, LLC. Property address is 1382 Howland Boulevard. Parcel ID is 813-038-000080. This property is being brought before special magistrate for multiple violations, all of which are for failure to obtain a permit and are in violation of the same ordinance. If the magistrate would allow, I would read the violation of the city ordinance for no permit once as it is will be the same for each violation, and then the corrective action wherein I will list the different deficiencies requiring a permit.
Sure. Thank you.
This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. Statutory requirements for this notification of the hearing have been met. Notice of hearing and notice of code violation was sent by certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed the day they were taken. The corrective action is going to be for a permit for work conducted. Violation A was for the floor plan layout for the erected walls. Violation B for the plumbing. Violation C, the electrical. Violation D for mechanical for the relocation of manicure and pedicure chairs as per the fire inspection report. This case is in reference to Unit 106 through 108, a nail salon in the plaza at 1382 Boulevard, Howland Boulevard. This case is a reactive case provided by the Deltona Fire Department. The initial inspection was on December 7, 2021 by the fire inspector. Since the deficiencies were not corrected, the case was directed to our department to obtain compliance. I do have a copy of the fire inspection report and the original layout of the business from a permit issued in 2007, and also a depiction of the current layout. This depiction is also in photo 3 of Exhibit A through D.
Okay, so this is an email
with the attached of the fire
inspection
report. Mhm.
You can keep talking
Okay.
if you are.
Thank you. November 2022, I attempted contact at the business without success. I posted a notice of violation within compliance date of January 4th, 2023. I did not receive any contact from the business owner or anyone representing the business. January 2024, 2023, I attempted contact, but the store was not open. I did take photos from the outside through the window and was able to confirm the layout of the salon does not appear to match the permit from 2007. Walls were added to create additional rooms, and a half wall was added to separate the new layout of the pedicure and manicure chairs and tables. I met with the store manager, Mr. Lee, to follow up. I showed him the 2007 layout and advised there was not a permit for the changes and additions. I advised him of the permits required to comply, and he stated the property manager is aware and will handle. I handed him my business card to communicate with me. At this time, additional cases were open for no permit for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. I provided a new notice of violation to the business owner, Mr. Lee, with a new compliance date of March 2nd, 2023. On April 18th, 2023, I met with Mr. Lee again and discussed each issue and advised that no permits were on file as of that date. Again, he stated the property manager was supposed to hire a contractor and attempted to call that property manager, but no answer. I left my business card again, and as of today, no permits are on file and no contact from the store manager or property manager. There's an option for the permit. There could be one permit from a GC to include all contractors to complete the work, or multiple permits from separate contractors. The city would like to request 90 days for the property to come into compliance, or a fine of $125 total to be imposed each day until the property owner comes into compliance.
Okay, thank you. Can you explain what was done that requires the electrical permit and the mechanical permit?
Yes, so the manicure and pedicure chairs were moved. They were originally, I guess, on the back wall according to a 2007 permit, but now they've rearranged those chairs. They require a mechanical permit for ventilation, and the electrical for the, I guess, the mechanical system for those chairs, and the plumbing.
Sorry, the electrical was for?
For the lighting and for the pedicure and manicure chairs, and then also plumbing for the manicure or pedicure chairs.
Okay. And the mechanical was for the HVAC, you said?
Yes.
Do they have to have something for each station? Is that, like, have a certain, I'm just trying to understand how moving around a station requires a permit.
I don't know if they have to have that for each station. Maybe Sharon could enlighten?
Kind of. So, yeah, so typically, you'll see when you go get your nails done, they have the fans that pull the exhaust, the fumes down, and then it filters out or it goes outside. So it doesn't have the buildup of the fumes. So the pedicure chairs are not so much the issue as it is the manicure tables. But they did a whole relocation of pedicure chairs and manicure tables. So it requires them to reevaluate the mechanical and permit for whatever's needed.
Okay. So by moving them, they might have to change where those vents and fans are located, essentially.
Yes.
Okay. All right, did you have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let me make sure the notice, okay. I find the notice was properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file as Exhibit A, and also the added email with the fire inspection report. I'm going to find that the respondent in this case is in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on August 22nd, which would be 90 days. In the event respondent does not comply by this date, a fine in the amount of $125 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. The respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. Thank you. All right, this is 23-151, 2831 Summerfield Street.
My name is Tyler Russo. I'm employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 23-151. The City of Deltona versus Bridge SFR IV C Borrower LLC.
The property address is 2831 Summerfield Street. The parcel ID number is 813-043-370-080. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. The corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for the fence. Applications must be submitted to the City of Deltona, 2345 Providence Boulevard, Deltona, Florida, 32725. The structure must meet all requirements of city ordinance and be approved on final inspection. Contact our office with the permit number when obtained. The statutory requirements for notification of this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code of violation were sent certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All of the evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the Special Magistrate Clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. This case was opened on April 14th, 2023 for a fence that does not have a permit on file. This notice of violation was posted on the same day when the case was started. As of today's date, there has been no contact made with the property owner, and the property still has not obtained a permit. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance, or a fine of $25 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Did you say $25?
Yes, ma'am, $25 or 30 days.
Okay. And is this the case that previously I made a ruling on, and then it was because the notices we discovered later were not
They were,
properly
yes.
given? Okay, thank you. Okay, I find the note, and I'm sorry, and your testimony was they still have not pulled the permit for the fence,
That's correct, yes.
All right. I find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm omitting the case file as Exhibit A. I find that respondent in this case is in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on June 23rd. In the event respondent does not comply by this date, a fine in the amount of $25 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. The respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you. All right, this is 23-181, 2558 Collingswood Drive.
My name is Steve Brockhoff. I'm employed with the City of Deltona as a compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 23-181, City of Deltona versus Level Up Construction, LLC. Property address is 2558 Collingswood Drive. The parcel ID number is 813-032-990-430. This is a violation of City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or erect or install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause such work to be done, shall first make application with the city official, building official, and obtain a required permit. This is specifically for a retaining wall. Statutory requirements for this notification of hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation were sent certified mail to the property owner that's listed as the address listed in the property appraiser's website. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the code board clerk. I certify that all the photographs be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed the day they were taken. This case for me began on January 25th when I was flagged down by a citizen who was complaining about a failing retaining wall. I checked the computer and noticed that there was a case filed on the 9th of January. However, there wasn't an inspection date, so it didn't propagate onto my screen, and that was submitted through proper channels with City Hall. So I went down to the property and observed that the retaining wall indeed was failing, and attempted to make contact. The person didn't speak English, so I left my card. That was and returned on the 29th. On the 30th, a woman by the name of Mrs. Rodriguez called. I explained the violation and the reason for having the repair and having the permit for the repair. On February 26th, the notice the wall had been repaired, but there had not been a permit pulled for it. I showed the pictures to the building official to make sure that it was truly needed a permit and not just, a repair. He determined that it did need a permit. So I recontacted Mrs. Rodriguez on February 27th to inform her it needed a permit. I gave time to correct. Nothing had happened. On March 27th, I posted the notice of violation for the property and requested certified mail for the same. The compliance date was set for April 25th. There's been no further communication from the LLC since then, so I decided to post it for the special magistrate meeting, and to date, as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, there has not been a permit applied for that retaining wall. The city staff would request that 21 days be given for them to come into compliance, after which $50 per day fine.
What's the reason for the 21 days?
In some such cases, I think 21 days is plenty. They wouldn't need 30, being as this is a new build. The house was built, I think, in 2021, so obtaining the survey is not going to be an issue for the owners. And then it's a construction company, so they shouldn't have any problems gaining an engineer to submit drawings.
You know that it was completed by a construction company?
The LLC construction company is who
it's
is the
still
owner.
the builder?
It's Level Up Construction Company, I would assume, since they're an LLC with a construction company, they should have, engineers on staff. The city would entertain longer if you're not comfortable with 21 days.
So it's the construction company that owns it, but they have a tenant? Is that what your understanding is?
That's what's apparent.
Okay. All right. I will do that. Let's see. So all right, I find the notices in this case were properly given. I'm admitting the case file as Exhibit A. I find the respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on, can you give me the 21 days?
June 14th. Oh.
June 14th? Yes, June 14th? All right. On June 14th, in the event respondent does not comply by the state, a fine in the amount of $50 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. Respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order.
Thank you. That was my last case. May I be excused?
Yes. Well, I suppose that's up to Mr. Ron. Okay. All right, this is the last one. 23-184, 1571 Pendleton Street.
My name is Todd Mead. I am employed by the City of Deltona as a code compliance officer. This will be case number DEL 23184. The City of Deltona versus TAH MS Borrower LLC, care of Tricon American Homes LLC. The property address is 1571 Pendleton Street, Deltona, Florida 32725. The parcel ID number is 813-011-230-510. This is a violation of the City of Deltona Ordinance Section 18-3, adopting the latest edition of the Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, which states that any owner, authorized agent who intends to construct, enlarge, alter, repair, move, demolish, or change the occupancy of a building or structure, or to erect, install, enlarge, alter, repair, remove, convert, or replace any electrical, gas, mechanical, or plumbing system, the installation of which is regulated by this code, or to cause any such work to be done, shall first make application to the building official and obtain the required permit. Corrective action for said violation is to obtain a permit for the fence. Applications must be submitted to the City of Deltona, 2345 Providence Boulevard, Deltona, Florida, 32725. The structure must meet all requirements of city ordinance and be approved on final inspection. Contact the office with the permit number when obtained. The statutory requirements for notification for this hearing have been met by the notice of hearing and notice of code violation sent out certified mail to the property owner at the address listed with the property appraiser's records. In addition, both notices were posted on the property and at City Hall at least 10 days prior to this hearing. All evidence in this case, including the photographs, have been marked as exhibits and submitted to the special magistrate clerk. I certify any and all photographs to be true and accurate portrayals of what I observed on the day they were taken. On December 6, 2022, I was doing a proactive review of the area of 1571 Pendleton Street. I noticed some new fence panels placed on the property area on the left and right sides of the home. I researched the address in the Intergov and Trackit systems for any prior permits. No existing permit was known. I left a door hanger notice for the homeowner to comply. I'd made contact with a tenant of the home on the same day. I gave him the door hanger notice to provide the homeowner at his convenience. The tenant provided the information on the fence being replaced by the company after the hurricanes. No contact from the property manager or homeowner over the next few weeks was received. On March 21st of 2023, a notice of violation was issued and sent to the owner of record in California. No action from the homeowner has been recorded in City Hall offices. Notice of a hearing was sent on May 14th, 2023, with a posting on the front door for the May 24th hearing. At the time of this hearing, the property remains in violation with no permit for the fence. The city would like to request 30 days for the property to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day to be imposed until such time that the property owner has notified the city of compliance.
Okay, you said $50 in how many days?
30 days.
30? Are you willing to do 60? Because I don't know if a survey is going to be required, and I hate to do 30 and they're not.
I'm okay with that because this Tricon, the previous case in last month, they had 2 fence permits that they needed the time, so I'm agreeing with that. 60 days is okay with me.
You're okay with the 60? All right. All right, so, and it's your testimony that as of today, there is no permit on file?
No permit, no, check
Okay,
that out.
thank you. All right, I'm going to find that the notices were properly given in this case, and I'm admitting the case file is Exhibit A. I find respondent in this case in violation of the city code as charged, and that respondent correct the violation before 4:00 p.m. on July 23rd, which is 60 days. In the event respondent does not comply with the state, a fine in the amount of $50 per day will be imposed for each day the violation continues past the aforestated date. The respondent is further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, that's the last case we have. I did want to say for the record, so Renee, if you could add this to the minutes for today. I had 2 cases where I previously made an oral ruling, and I have subsequently, I'm rescinding that oral ruling. Both of those times I already emailed the city, and you all know what they are, but that's case 23-173 that was related to 1197 Acorn Street, and it was a nuisance abatement appeal. I am rescinding that oral ruling. And also for case 23-041, which is a Massey case, and failure to obtain a permit for a fence. Thank you. That way you have a record in the minutes that I rescinded the ruling. Okay? Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.